Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hope you are doing fantastic today. For those I have not met before, my name is Lori, and I am a business success coach who helps aspiring digital nomads and entrepreneurs to build profitable and scalable remote-based businesses that give them the freedom of time and location they're looking for and allow them to hit their financial goals in their business within the next 12 months or less. And today I am joined by Geoff Seow. Hopefully I said that right. Seow, the founder of Mind Access Life Coaching, a service designed to help unfulfilled millennials create an inspired vision for their future through overcoming self-doubt with a personalized game plan. Geoff is an experienced life coach and NLP practitioner who uses his academic background and life experience to coach his clients towards personal success with a revolutionary one-on-one coaching system. Well, that sounds very intriguing. So welcome, Geoff. So happy to have you here today. Really excited. I think, everybody, I know, everything that you have to talk about resonates with this audience quite a bit. So would love it if you could maybe just introduce yourself a little bit more, tell us a little bit about your story and how you got into this field. And I know you mentioned that you are also an aspiring digital nomad. So tell us your story.
Hey, thanks for the amazing introduction, Laurie, and thanks for having me on the show today as well. I really appreciate it that I can be here. And in terms of my story, yeah, I'd love to share that. Well, for me, it started a couple of years ago. So for most of my life, I've been in academia. I was doing clinical research in the corporate realm, and I was extremely unfulfilled. I knew I was kind of following like a master plan, and I know a lot of people know that master plan approach, and I was so unhappy with what I was doing. And on the side of this as well, I was doing drugs continuously for about 8 years. So like on the surface, high achiever, whatever, but underneath the surface, just not enjoying my life at all. A couple of years ago, I had kind of just bought a life coaching course just because I was interested in it about 5 years ago, and I never really did anything with it until about 2 years ago when I made the decision to go sober. And the decision was a multivariate decision. One of the reasons was because I got promoted at work and I had to really put myself together after about 8 years of being a bit stupid with my life. And on top of that as well, I also knew I needed to change my life. The pandemic kind of caused me to slow down, kind of caused me to really think about my life in a way which I had not before, because I'd be going to work and then just doing drugs after. It was pathetic, it was sad, and I knew I could do more with my life. Long story short, I ended up opening an Instagram page a couple of months later. A lot happened in this time. I was continuously working my mind on my physical sense as well, going to the gym every single day, staying away from drugs. Becoming sober changed my life. Opened up an Instagram page called Your Daily Purpose, and it was all about just me putting out posts designed to help people with ancient philosophy, ancient wisdom, putting my heart and soul into what I thought. It grew very quickly. People loved it. People were messaging me saying, "Wow, this really improved my day. This gave me a new outlook on life." And where that went over time is as I kept doing that for about a year, and I still maintained my sobriety and I still trained at the gym, really put myself back together and was learning. I started to really delve into life coaching. I got into life coaching. I did the NLP course. I did a lot of life coaching certifications. And towards the end, I was like, this is what I want to do with my life right now. I'm so tired of my clinical research. I want to do this. So I did it. So I basically left Perth, moved to Melbourne just to start it, just to get that kick up the bum, you know what I mean? And that's really, yeah. It's so important to have it, right? You got to really motivate yourself that way. And went to Melbourne, opened up my life coaching, and it's been great ever since. I'm back in Perth now, but I'm still life coaching and I love what I do. It's amazing.
Yeah. Coaching really is such a rewarding career. And, my journey actually maybe is kind of similar to you. I up and went to the Caribbean,
Oh,
but definitely a very similar thing, and left my job,
yeah.
my corporate world behind, and, just realized I wanted something different. So I completely understand. So let's dive in and really start to, I guess, talk about, because I know kind of these highlights here, the fears, confidence, and getting clear on life direction, is something that many, if not many of the people in our audience, if not all of them, either are going through or have recently gone through. So I think that this is a really important topic. So tell us a little bit more about, what you see, in this space, and how people are really able to gain that, I think what you call it, that warrior mindset.
Right. So the warrior mindset is well, that was one of the webinars I did in the past. And if
Mhm.
anyone wants to watch it, it's on my website. You can check it out. But the warrior mindset it's multivariate once again, but it combines all of these elements here. So to build up that warrior mindset, it all comes down to your basic foundations, right? And it's kind of a little bit different from, I guess, like the main topics we're discussing. But the main foundation of it was to basically have some kind of life direction, is to really look all the way to the end, right? Because to build a mindset that's going to allow you to, prosper in this world, because let's face it, this world isn't always sunshine and rainbows. There's always challenges coming our way, right? And if you want to last to the end, you've got to have a vision you want to work towards. So what it means to gaze all the way to the end is look all the way to the end of your life. When you're old and you're looking back, what is it you want to remember in your life that you did? If you want to have no regrets, look all the way to the end. And then once you know how you want your life to look, you have to reverse engineer it and turn it into a plan. And when you can do that, that's when you can really start to make action in your life. Because until you have a good idea of how you want your life to be at the end, then you're just wandering through, going left and right wherever the wind blows you. But if you
Mhm.
have a solid idea of how you want your life to look, you can dictate that. You can create that. You're a manifestor of your life. And that's where you start to gain control of what you do. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what you do and what you say and what you think. And if you do those things and you understand where you're headed, well, it's just a matter of time, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I laughed a little when you said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, because that's actually like I use those exact words like
Out there?
very frequently. So yeah, that resonated with me.
Cool.
Absolutely. Because I think there's some definite similarities there. Okay, so when someone is at a point in their life where let's say similar to you and to like where you reach that point where you're like, okay, I'm not accomplishing what I want with my life. I'm not happy in my life. What, what is your advice, I guess, really too, for people that are coming to that point? Because I know you've been there, you have clients that have been there. Like, what does that look like when someone reaches that point and of like something has to change, and how do they go about making that change?
Right, that's a great question, Laurie. And I like to think of it a lot as, the metamorphosis stage, when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly and it goes into hiding and it starts to repress itself. That's basically humans too, because deep down, we all know that there is some kind of potential that we're able to achieve based on our talents, based on basically our upbringing, based on everything. Right, we know that there is a certain level of potential we can reach in life. And also, if you gaze all the way to the end and you figure out what you want your life to look at and you reverse engineer it and you're not reaching what you want. And this is a little bit different from gratitude, right? Because gratitude is about being grateful for what you have. But the thing about that is if you don't like what you have, it's hard to be grateful for it, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's just the way it is with everyone. It's like you don't necessarily have to like what you have. It's important to realize that the necessities are there, but sometimes if you're not happy, then that's just the way it is. So that's where you got to dive deep. You got to look into your own mind. You've got to build that time. And for me, that was during the pandemic, kind of just where like it was just me versus me, like everything was in lockdown. It was just me versus me. And I was like, damn, like this something ain't right, you know? And so for everyone that I work with or people that come to me, I tell them, okay, like, look, you already know what's wrong. You already know what's wrong, but we've got to go through everything. And I help you bring it all up and I help you strategize it, because most people realize that they're not in the right spot. They just know it's a gut feeling, right? But the
Mhm.
key then is to take action about it, or you can risk just feeling like that your whole life, because there are people that do that.
Mhm.
And you know them, I know them, we all know those people because they're always unhappy.
Mhm. Mhm. And yeah, I know you made the choice to not be one of those people, and I know I did too. And hope that those people that are watching, if you are one of those people, that you are here because you are making a choice to make a change.
That's right.
I know, some of your main points here are about overcoming fears and gaining confidence and really, getting clear on that life direction. And I'm sure that you have found this too, but I know with my own clients, oftentimes they aren't achieving the things they want in their life because they don't have the confidence in themselves, and because they have fears, whether it's fears of success, fears of failure, fear of, disappointing people in their life. um I'd like to maybe, just dive into that a little bit more and talk about, you know, what those common fears that you see are. Because like I said, I know I see a lot of them I work with, of course, entrepreneurs, and I know you work with everybody, not just entrepreneurs, but what are those fears that you see really happening with those people, and how do they get from that place of like complete fear to a place of having the confidence in themselves to actually go out and make these big huge life changes?
Right. So the key there is to actually get really clear on what the fear is, because fear is a very general term, right? Like you could be afraid of spiders. So there's many types of fears, but to get really clear on what fears are inhibiting your actions. So let's say, for example, okay, let's say, for example, you are afraid of public speaking, right? So you do everything in your power to avoid public speaking situations. You do everything in your power to avoid situations which involves you putting yourself out there because you're afraid of public speaking. But then you got to look a little bit deeper. Is it really a fear of public speaking, or is it a fear of judgment, right? Is it a fear
Yep.
of failure, right? So these are fears that are deep and visceral. And for me, I help my clients find the visceral fears, because we can fear all kinds of things, but those fears are surface level fears. Fears go deep. And the main fears that I look at are the fears that are formed at childhood, the fears that, memories that you've repressed and forgotten. And those fears really control actions. And the main fear that I have seen in pretty much like every client I've worked with, and I was really thinking about this, I think it was 2 days ago, actually, Laura, I was really considering this, is the fear of failure. So
Mm-hmm.
many people, not even just the people I've worked with, but the people I know, fear failure to the extent where they'd rather not even try, just because
Mm-hmm.
failure is a possibility. And to everyone I work with, and literally everyone I talk to, and this is my core, something I really believe in, is that failure is important.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you failed, you actually tried to make something happen. And that's
Yep.
better than doing nothing. And if you
Yep.
fail, you learn. So if you try again, you can get a little bit better. You can get a little bit better. You can get a little bit better. And that's what coaching is too, right? Because coaching helps you accelerate that process, as you know. But failure, if you were to do it without a coach, failure just helps you get to the point where you can look back and realize all your mistakes give you leverage to actually
Mm-hmm.
do things with your life. Because now you know what it feels like. You know what that's going to happen if you do that. You can avoid situations like that and improve yourself.
Yep, absolutely. I call it failing up, actually, because
Yeah.
like every failure, you are that much closer to your success and reaching your goals. And if you don't experience that failure, you never know, you never truly value what you have, because you don't realize how much you had to overcome to get there. So, absolutely. Um, but that fear of failure, it's a beast, and it really does.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've felt it, but I definitely see it in a lot of my clients. And you're right, a lot of people, come to me and they're all gung ho about, starting this business, but unfortunately some people are overcome by that failure, and it causes them to stop and to give up. And the thing is you might fail, but that right on the other side of that failure, there may have been the opportunity to like absolutely like reach all of your dreams and live that life you love. But if you gave up, you never are going to know, because you let the fear overcome you. So how do they get from that place of fear to the place of confidence, and having the confidence to actually go out and do those things?
Right. Well, the first thing you have to do is you actually just have to do it. And when you do it the first time, it's probably going to be awful. It's probably going to be awful. But you see, if you sit down and you try and overcome a fear just with thinking, it doesn't really work that way, because you need action to make things happen. If you sit
Mm-hmm.
down and try and contemplate a fear, you could think about it for a year and make no progress. Because the more you think about a fear, the more you create reasons to avoid doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Mm-hmm.
mind just makes it up. Your mind wants to keep you safe. It's your default method, right? Like let's keep yourself safe. And self-preservation is about basically using your fears as a shield to avoid uncomfortable situations. But that's where growth happens. That's where the dream you want happens. You need to chase that. So I'll give you an example. For me, whenever I face inner resistance, because I'm always like kind of I would say like maintaining my inner world. I'm always trying to watch when certain things flare up so that I can take action on it, right? So like say for example, I'm really putting off going for a run. Like the whole day, I'm just like, oh, just do it tomorrow, just do it tomorrow, just do it tomorrow. And for me, like I run late at night, so obviously there's a little bit of a put off there. I run about 11 p.m. at night, and I run for an hour, right? So for me, I just go and do it. I know I have to do it. I have to overcome that resistance. So
Mhm.
if you want to move past fear, you have to do it. You have to make action happen. And then once you've done it, it's probably going to be quite awful, but you have to look inside and realize, one, I'm very proud for doing that. But two, also, why did that fear hold me back in the first place? And that's where you can start going down the rabbit hole of where it started, where it came from. Maybe it came from school, maybe it came from childhood, your parents, who knows? But it probably started between the ages of 1 and 7. And if you can isolate it and realize that it's not real because, those are formative years, your adulthood years are completely different,
Mhm.
then that's where you're going to start the chain event. It's not an overnight process, though. It takes time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think unfortunately some people aren't, not that they're not willing to give it the time, but they don't give it the time that it needs to actually reach there, and they do walk away. So at this point, what advice do you have for somebody? Like, let's say somebody here, they say, okay, like, yes, this sounds like me, I want change. Like, how do they go from that place to taking that first step to getting help, to making a change in their life? Like, what is that first piece of advice that you would give somebody to actually make that change?
You've got to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Change only happens when the way that your life is right now is absolutely unbearable. It's like anything is better than this right now. And that's when change happens, because you know that if you don't change something, you're going to be miserable 24/7. And I've been there. I know exactly what it's like. I literally used to go to work and just sit and look at the ceiling for an hour. Like, I just literally hated my life that much. So, like, I know this is not just me making up. Like, I know what it feels like. But that feeling of, like, this is awful, that is when change happens. If it's kind of just like, oh, maybe I'll do it next year or whatever, then it's
Mm-hmm.
probably not going to happen. You've got to really feel that strong sensation of, I need to change because I know that I can do more with my life. And
Mm-hmm.
realistically, we can. We live in good countries. You live in the USA. I live in Australia. There is so
Mm-hmm.
much potential for what we can get, really, and what we can do. And when we see that and we know that of what we can achieve in our lives, that's where that process happens within, because we know that we've been given something to be grateful for, and to waste it is a shame.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more there. And, unfortunately it took me a good portion of my life to get to that point of being able to realize that. So hopefully we are able to, I think, save some people some of the pain that they may go through. But you're right. You have to be at that point where you are ready for change in order for change to actually happen. Um, so let's say somebody, I know but when you were talking before, you mentioned that you have an ebook. Is that
Mm.
something where you would tell people to start? Like, tell me a little bit more about the book and how that might help somebody that's in this position.
Actually, that's a great question. I created an ebook exactly for people who are looking for change. Because when I wanted to write a book, I wanted to write something that people could actually use, that's impactful. It's not just like, oh, like you read it and you forget about it. So this
Mhm.
book, I've designed it as a step-by-step guide to help you gain clarity on your life direction, right? So say you want change, and you're just like, I want change. And a lot of people are like that. They just want change, right? Because we want to try different things. We're addicted to the dopamine of change. But it's like, what change do you want that's going to promote a better life for you? And this book, basically, I help you to get clear on whatever that sticking point is. And there is a whole guide in this book that literally helps you look at every criterion of life. It's called the 7 areas of life, right? The 7 pillars of life. And we go through the entire thing, and we'll help you isolate exactly what it is that's bothering you, exactly what it is that's really holding you back, and you have it visually. And then you basically write statements and look at it and basically draw it all together into where you want your life to be within, say, the next year or the next 5 years, right? And then you have
Mhm.
a point of reference to begin with. Because if you want change and you know you need change, a lot of the time people don't know what they want to change. This is the best starting point. This gives you the leverage. So at least you have some direction. So maybe if you want to work with me, maybe if you want to do more research, either way, this book is going to help you with that process.
Okay, awesome. And for everybody that's watching, I did drop it in the comments underneath the episode in the Facebook group. For those that are watching on Instagram, you can definitely watch in the Facebook group here to grab that link, or you can also go ahead and message Geoff. I'm sure he will be happy to send you that link as well. So I'm going to pop your Instagram handle up here. So tell us how people connect with you.
Yeah, thanks, Laurie. You can connect with me via my Instagram. You can see there, Mind Access Life Coaching. It's the same on Facebook as well, just the same handle, Mind Access Life Coaching. And also on LinkedIn, it's my name, just Geoff Seow.
Okay.
And then there's my website too. And I've got plenty of free resources, webinars, stuff like that. You can check out on my website if you're interested.
Okay, fantastic. And I know that we have many people, in this group as well as in our Instagram audience who are gonna watch this episode and who are in a position where, like I said, most people are here entrepreneurs, or they want to be, but they're not ready to make that change yet, or they're not sure how to take that next step. So absolutely would recommend you guys reach out to Geoff. Grab that book. Again, link is in the comments. Any last words of advice that you want to give to the audience, Geoff?
Yeah, there's always something that's on my mind. I love to say this is that look, life is limited. Time is short. Like there's not as much time as we think there is. And if there's something you want to do with your life, and there's something you're capable of doing with your life, don't let your fears hold you back. Don't let your lack of confidence hold you back. Take some action, make some change, and go out there and get it, because you only get one life, and what you do with it really does count. So
Mm-hmm.
keep that in mind always. Time is limited, and do the most with what you have.
Yes, absolutely. And on that note, as I say my goodbyes, again, if you are struggling to overcome your fears around sales, marketing, putting yourself out there, but you know that you're ready to take that next step, that leap to build or scale your business, and one that supports that digital nomad, remote-based lifestyle that you are looking for, stop going at it alone. Reach out. Send myself or an admin a message, and we can chat about how we can help to get you there faster. If you're not quite there yet, then you contact Geoff. So go ahead, and I will pop up send a message, or you can also just go ahead and book a call here with our team. Otherwise, said, thank you so much, Geoff, for being here. Have really enjoyed this conversation. As I said, I think there's some commonalities there, so a lot of this really strikes close to home for me and a lot of people in this audience. I definitely know that. So thank you so much again for joining us, and everybody else, thank you for tuning in. For those watching the recording, happy to have you here. Shoot us some questions if you have them. Otherwise, have a fantastic day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
See you later.